and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Now is your chance to own a unique piece of American heritage, celebrating 40 years of Lee Greenwood's iconic anthem that honors our nation's resilience and unity. Presenting the Lee Greenwood God Bless the USA 40th anniversary coin. This limited edition investment grade coin has become even more cherished following President Trump's unprecedented return, now recognized as the greatest comeback in history. Originally released after his first presidency, this coin reflects the strength and pride of our country and offers a truly unique precious metal collectible. At Global Coin, they specialize in providing access to rare investment-grade coins that simply can't be found elsewhere. Don't miss out. Get your Lee Greenwood God Bless the USA 40th anniversary coin now while supplies last. Text COIN to 71777 to receive a purchase link or call Global Coin at 888-385-0066. That's 888-385-0066. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. We got some tea tonight for you because we are joined by political commentators Stephanie Hamill and Brittney Hopper. Ladies, welcome back. After this epic win of Donald Trump's and really the huge signal I feel like the American people sent out on November 5th, we really, I feel like, have turned a corner in our country. Some people, though, are not really onto it. Brittney, I feel like the mainstream media is a little confused. These folks have been peddling nonsense for quite some time, lying about Donald Trump. And now they don't know really what to do. You see the ratings just like dropping way off, especially for people, I don't know, over there at MSNBC specifically. Sounds like things are not going too well for Joe and Mika. Sounds like CNN is starting to think about cutting back their folks a little bit. And so you would think that they may have taken a note of, the American peoples from November 5th. They did not. Here's a headline that I thought was one of the most outrageous things I've ever heard, and I would love to get your reaction to it, Brittney. Laken Riley's killer never stood a chance. This was a headline from MSNBC, and essentially they were saying that after this man who killed Laken Riley, they had the DNA of hers was found on him, vice versa. There's so much evidence surrounding the fact that this is the man who murdered her, who tortured her before murder. He should have never been in our country. This was an illegal immigrant. We know all the things. Some reason MSNBC decided they needed to come out and say Laken Riley's killer never stood a chance. People were very upset about this, Brittney, obviously, because it's ridiculous. I'll tell you who never stood a chance, and everyone knows it, is Laken Riley. Why do you think, Brittney, they're just like tripling down now? They didn't get the note on November 5th. They have no intention of changing course. What is this about?
As you know, Laura, I was part of mainstream media for almost 2 decades with CBS News in Los Angeles. And so it doesn't fit their narrative. This doesn't fit their agenda and narrative. And I've been saying this repeatedly, and I'll continue to say this. It's complete and utter brainwashing and manipulation on the American people. And sadly, we just saw the American people speak out so loudly by Trump winning not only the popular vote, the electoral vote, but switching the House and Senate, flipping it. We haven't seen a red tsunami like this since the early 80s. They don't care. They don't care. And an illegal immigrant from Venezuela coming in and doing what he did just does not fit their narrative and what they've been saying for years. So they're not going to backpedal and all of a sudden be like, oh, American people, we're lying. They're going to continue it. There's something going on here, though. I'm sorry, because the mass majority, there has to be. What is going on with these higher ups, though? They're losing money. They're losing ratings. CNN has had to make massive layoffs recently. Same with MSNBC. Same with so many of the other local news stations and CBS, ABC across the board. We're hearing that The View may get canceled. So why?
Not that any of us would cry many tears about that. Oh my gosh.
But this is the American people, thankfully, are waking up. I think your father-in-law's first administration, they continued it. They continued it, and they beat him down in the media. Now, during the Biden administration, and since Elon Musk took over X, I think a lot of people are starting to wake up and see the real information that's out there and how biased this left-wing media is. But now what? What are we going to see in the next 4 years? How are they going to do this? I'm just as perplexed as I think a lot of other people are, and I was in the media for almost 2 decades.
It's really crazy to me, Stephanie. The fact that now we're saying that Laken Riley's murderer is now the victim, and I mean, look, I think Brittney, I think you're right. I think they don't even know what to do because they've made their money, and they've stayed alive by fear mongering, by telling you that all the things that you actually see out there with your own eyes are not true. That I don't know where they're going from here, Stephanie. But this one was kind of out there for me, and I think a lot of people too. Obviously, they got a lot of backlash online for that the title and basically their whole idea. I'll read you a little excerpt from what they said. The MSNBC legal analyst wrote, "For the defense, this was a hopeless case. The defense did the best it could with bad facts. It almost surely knew it was going to lose." Yeah, when you come into this country illegally and then you kill someone. You kill a young nursing student in Georgia. Yes, be ready for what's coming to you. Stephanie, they ought to know better than to start with this stuff right after an election like this. But I guess maybe we shouldn't be surprised. Do you think they're going to ever change course, Stephanie, or is this just going to continue?
I mean, it's just despicable, but it's so on brand for MSNBC. Now, to be fair, they did rewrite the headline. I don't know if you saw it. Let me just make sure I get this one right. It says,
oh, yeah, let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
The guilt of Laken Riley's killer was never in doubt. So they fixed it after the backlash. But the fact that this even made it live online on their website to me is truly baffling because there's a process here. I've worked in newsrooms for many years, and there's not just one set of eyeballs that look at what goes online. It goes through other people, goes through editors, and then it goes live. So nobody paused. Nobody had a question about this headline. Nobody kicked it back to the writer initially before it went live. And the reason is because that's just how MSNBC is. Think about how they've treated the murder of Laken Riley throughout all of this time. They completely ignored the story. They don't want to talk about it because it doesn't fit the pro-open border narrative. And so that's why they don't care. And so, I mean, at least they fixed the headline, but that's still not enough. Think about the family who is hurting right now. Think about Americans who are so concerned about their communities. I mean, it is truly grotesque.
Yeah, you have the Tren de Aragua gang is now in 17 states. They're all over the country. We know that this was one of the top issues people went out and voted on in this past election. It's one of the reasons Donald Trump will be the 47th president, because people were like, wait a minute, this is not sustainable in America. We can't have people. Right now we have 13,000 murderers roaming the streets of America. We have the 350 people on a terror watch list. 300,000 Americans a year are being killed by fentanyl. That's all coming through the southern border. So it is a huge problem. And obviously they haven't gotten the message. But Stephanie, you brought up Elon Musk a moment ago. Sorry, Brittney, you brought up Elon Musk a moment ago. First of all, I just think that Elon Musk, I mean, what a hero. This guy went out, he bought Twitter, turned it into X. It is now a free speech platform, right? Like he really has kind of saved us. But what's funny about Elon is that if you go back before he bought Twitter, there was a post online when Elon Musk said, "I love Twitter." And somebody replied to him and said, "Why don't you buy it?" He wrote back and goes, "How much is it?" Well, the same thing has happened to an extent with MSNBC. As we're discussing, MSNBC is in dire straits. They must be just hemorrhaging money at this point, all of these outlets, because nobody trusts them. Nobody wants to hear this nonsense anymore. You know, the American people sent a mandate on November 5th, all of that. So my brother-in-law, I'm sure he'll take full credit for this. Go ahead, Don. Posted something about how Elon should buy MSNBC. And Elon wrote back and he goes, "How much is it?" Same thing. I don't know, Brittney. They started panicking over on the other side whenever this whole idea was discussed, or came to, you know, people's in front of their faces, they started panicking and melting down over there. What do you think of that? I mean, maybe he's kidding, but maybe he's not. And by the way, I'm 1000% for it. Buy it, Elon. Let's do it.
1000%. I was thinking, and I'll also give my resume to see if I can go join there.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We know that Elon Musk is a genius, okay? He's a genius. He doesn't think like most. We also know that he's the wealthiest man in the world. If he wanted to buy it, he could. Should he? 100%. This is what we need to see. I mean, haven't we heard for years that Soros has backed so many of these other media companies? Right. So why not? Why not? We need some more fair and balancing reporting out there, just like we're seeing the free speech on X. I mean, it's getting so out of control, these left-wing media stations out there. And when you say that they're losing money, of course they are, because the revenue is driven by advertising dollars. No one's advertising with them anymore because no one trusts them anymore because of the headline we just saw. And they've gotten, journalists are no longer journalists anymore. They are activists. And they're just pushing their agenda, pushing their narrative. And we saw this during the BLM riots. We really saw it during COVID. And now we're seeing it even more. And I don't think it's going to stop unless someone like Elon Musk comes in and takes over. And I would love that. I would love to see nothing more. This is why we're seeing Fox News, Newsmax, One American News Network. This is why we're seeing their revenue increase, their ad dollars increase, and their ratings go up. So proof is in the pudding right now.
Take notes, folks. Like, this is what people want. And, you have places out there, you have outlets out there, Stephanie, like News Nation, who they're sort of middle of the road. They have a little bit of everything there. And I just think that's what people want. Like, you want to be able to tune in and get some facts and just get the information and not have all the commentary all the time. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes we like to hear it. But I think those hosts are generally very open about it on the right-leaning outlets. On the left, they try to make you feel like that's just the way it is. Their feelings are thrown right into it. I think this could be huge if Elon decides to do it. I'm sure Don will take full credit for the whole idea. And yeah, by the way, I like that. Brittney, I would say, like, all three of us ladies, if Elon is buying MSNBC, maybe count us in. Stephanie, would you go over?
100%.
I love it.
I love this story so much. And I love that Elon Musk asked how much, because originally when he asked how much Twitter was, nobody really 100% believed that he was interested in buying it. So the fact that he's asking is making a lot of people wonder if he's serious about this purchase. And you're so right, Lara. I mean, MSNBC, their ratings are in a free fall right now. They've lost half of their primetime audience. And one of the most hilarious stories of the past week was Mika and Joe Scarborough going down to Mar-a-Lago to see your father-in-law. And I appreciate the olive branch and trying to rekindle, but then you have to think about how these people treated Donald J. Trump, which is just, repulsive. They refer to him as Hitler. They called him a threat to democracy. They've called him a fascist. And then all of a sudden Trump wins, and then they just show up at Mar-a-Lago. Who wants a meeting with Hitler? So it just shows it was all a farce and how dishonest these people are. And that's why they're suffering big time with their audience, because people are tired of being lied to. And you also pointed out another great thing is that the fact that these people act like they're straight news hosts, they are just completely down the middle and they're just revealing the facts, but they're not. They're constantly peddling lies and disinformation, and they clearly have a bias. I don't care if people have a bias or a political party that they support, but reveal it, be transparent, and let people know where you're coming from. I've worked in the news for a long time. I've been an open conservative in the news world, I think since 2014. I did work for CBS back in the day, and I was a very fair reporter, and I laid it down the middle. Despite the pushback from my manager at the time, who was a liberal, but everyone's just tired of it. And so that's why people are looking to alternative media, because they want to hear the truth.
Yeah. By the way, the Joe and Mika thing is so interesting to me. Yeah. What I think is very cool is the way my father-in-law actually talked about it afterward. People were like, "Why would you meet with them?" And he said, "Look, I'm going to give people second, maybe even third chances if they need it." And I actually don't think they know on the left and on like, who is this? This is Donald Trump. He's giving people second and third chances. Yes, this is a good man. We've been trying to tell you guys this for years, but nobody wanted to listen to us. I think it was very cool the way he came out and was like, yeah, I met with them. You know, I'm not gonna hold a grudge here. I'm gonna allow them to come and apologize to me and you know, maybe we extend the olive branch type of thing. But what Joe and Mika, I don't think considered was sort of, Stephanie, what you just said, which is that they've been lying to their audience and knowingly lying to their audience for years about Donald Trump. When you demonize somebody in the way that they very specifically, those two did over the past, I'm going to say 8 years to Donald Trump, it's pretty tough for your audience who you really, you know, you've told them you should trust me, you should tune in every day, you should see what we have to say about these topics. It's a little hard for your audience then to come in and say like, well, wait a minute, why are they meeting with this guy? What happens now? And so I don't wish ill on anyone. I really don't. But I do think that they're going to reap what they sowed. And what they did over the past 8 years is damage their own credibility now that they've gone to Mar-a-Lago. And now that they've shown, oh, wait a minute, he really isn't that bad of a person. We just said all of this because it was politically advantageous for us and we thought it would help our cause. You lose credibility with people. And so look, whatever happens to them happens to them. Again, I'm with Donald Trump. I'll give people second and third chances. If they ask me on their show, I would be inclined to say yes, because I never want to count anybody out. You can always come and be on the team now. But they damaged themselves. Nobody else did that to them. And I think it's Stephanie, you just talked about alternative sources of media. People are constantly looking for this. And podcasts really are, I think, the future. And it's how so much of America now receives their news and information. And it turns out, I think that the podcast space, and a lot of people are saying this, is one of the reasons Donald Trump had a successful reelection. He had these interviews with these podcasters. They're kind of like, some of them like Theo Von, like comedians, kind of funny. And it really, I think, opened people up to who Donald Trump is. I think prior to that, Brittney, you probably could have been told by the Mika and Joes of the world, oh, Donald Trump's a bad guy. You watch him on Joe Rogan, you watch him with Theo Von, you watch him in some of these podcasts. People are like, I don't know, he seems like a pretty cool guy. And I think that the difference between going on like a late night, like a Stephen Colbert or one of those shows, like people traditionally did in politics, that's kind of been phased out. I think the future is going to be podcasts. And I think, quite frankly, Donald Trump played the podcast space beautifully this election.
I couldn't agree more, especially because it goes back to these late night hosts that we're seeing now. They're crying.
Oh, Jimmy
Kimmel, over your father-in-law winning. So, I mean, again, we're losing trust. We're losing trust. Back in the day, we didn't see these late night guests or talk show hosts cry when a Republican would win. I mean, it's all just, I mean, but yes, podcasts are the future. Podcasts are the way that we're going to be getting a lot of information. The Megyn Kelly show. I mean, so many of these podcasts, and it, you know, even when your father-in-law was on X, being interviewed by Elon Musk, I mean, it just millions of people tuned in to the point where it crashed because so many people tuned in. And, you know, we want to see that softer side of him. And he's getting that opportunity because the media has painted him in such this horrible, horrific point of view, which couldn't be farther from the truth. So now the truth is prevailing, and that's what's amazing. And we're getting that from podcasts.
Let me ask you this, Stephanie. Did you guys, by the way, did you watch the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight? Did you guys watch it?
I saw clips. I didn't watch the whole thing.
All right. Well, I watched it in real time with my husband. It just made me, this is like an aside of sorts. I know that I'm like, this is last week or whatever, but it just made me think of it, talking about how X crashed.
Yeah.
But there's so many people got frozen on Mike Tyson's like bare butt. I still don't know what ultimately that was about. But it just reminded me of that. And I could have done without that fight. I know that Mike Tyson probably needed the money. Clearly, I think he got $20 million for that. But in my mind, Mike Tyson is like, just, he's the ultimate, you know, badass. He's the ultimate fighter. That's Iron Mike Tyson. I grew up watching Mike Tyson, like, just be the toughest guy out there, and a person who nobody could even try to take down. And that, it was kind of sad, the Jake Paul fight to me. The story of My Pillow is a testament to faith and transformation. Mike Lindell, once battling addiction, found a new path when he embraced faith and began following Jesus. In gratitude, Mike is excited to share an exclusive offer with our listeners. Right now, the standard My Pillow is available for less than $15, a savings that's too good to pass up. There's a limit of 10 per customer, so don't wait to take advantage of this amazing deal now with promo code TRUMP. Mike believes God gave him the idea for My Pillow in a dream, and it's designed with your comfort in mind. The pillow holds its shape and adapts perfectly to your unique sleep position, helping keep your neck aligned for the best night's sleep. And there's more. Take home a 4-piece kitchen set for only $25. Enjoy their new mattress topper starting at just $99.99, or pick up the luxurious My Pillow bed sheets starting at $49.98. Visit mypillow.com and use promo code TRUMP to unlock huge discounts. Don't miss out. Order today. I read
that Jake Paul reached out to Mike Tyson and they teamed up to do this. I don't know if this is true, but allegedly they kind of teamed up to do this to both get each other money. And it was beneficial for the both of them.
Yeah.
Jake Paul had idolized Mike Tyson his entire life, and who knows what the truth is, but yeah.
It just made me sad. And it made me feel really old too. I'm like, oh God, if Mike Tyson can't hack it out there, what hope is there for the rest of us, Stephanie? I don't know the answer.
You're coming in swinging hot.
I mean, we're trying. No, listen, I think what's funny is, as I was reading about the podcast stuff, I think you could argue probably that the Joe Rogan podcast interview with Donald Trump was probably what sealed the deal for a lot of like the younger men in the country to get out and vote for Donald Trump. And Joe Rogan had a comment about the fact that the rebels are now Republicans, is what he said. You want to be a rebel, you want to be punk rock, you want to buck the system. And if you want to do that, then now you're a conservative. I talk about this all the time. We're kind of like the counterculture now. And I don't know exactly where the shift came. I think it probably started around the time that Donald Trump came down the escalator in 2015, but many people were not apt to recognize it until I really kind of feel like the past year or two. And now it really is so obvious that that's what's going on. I'm just very hopeful now. And I agree 100% with Joe Rogan on that. This is the party. This is the cool party now. This is the place to be. I don't know what took some of y'all so long, but come on in. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do appreciate Joe Rogan. I hate that it took him so many years to be willing to give President Trump a platform. He was obviously misled and influenced by the conversations going on in the mainstream media, and he didn't want to get canceled.
So was JD Vance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was cowardly of him for all those years, but I really respect him for finally giving President Trump the platform that he deserved. And I think he perfectly executed it. And I think he made a great case. And I think it was really compelling because he wasn't a partisan person. He's not political. And so many independents and his viewers trust him because he is so honest. So, and you got to love the contrast between VP Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. She didn't want to do the podcast because she's so scripted. Like she can't go anywhere without a script. She's such a robot. And it's because she either didn't have any real policies that she supports, or she just wasn't intelligent enough to do it and doesn't have the personality for it. Meantime, President Trump, you take him anywhere, you don't have to prepare him for anything. He can talk for hours and he can explain why he defends and supports certain policies and the things that he's going to do and the things that he's passionate about. So it really humanized Trump in a way that so many millions of Americans have never seen him because they're used to the filter from the mainstream media who want to depict him in a certain way. And so, as you pointed out, podcasts are the way of the future. People want to get the information straight from the source, not from people who have motives.
Yeah, it's again, and that's the cool place to be now. You want to be a conservative, you want to be in podcast space.
And
yeah,
back to the counterculture thing, it's because the Democratic Party is the party of censorship. So these people who are comedians and podcasters, they can't do business if they're being censored and canceled every other second. The Democratic Party is the party of the establishment. They are the party of war. I mean, these are the people who are destroying the American way of life. So yeah, that's why people are waking up and woke up.
They've
and
also
sent a strong message.
Far left that I think they've lost so many people. They're not for the working class anymore. So they've lost that huge chunk of people who, you know, my parents back in the day, even though my parents were never Democrats, but that generation, you know, they've lost that. They've lost so many people. And then you have the younger generation. They just went so far to a level of insanity, I think, in my point of view, that they've just lost so many people. Whereas the Republican Party, they've kind of scooted a little bit toward the middle a little bit. They're reaching everyone. The Democratic Party, they went so far left. I mean, we're just...
The correction's happening, and Lara, that's something that you've asked me over the years, like, is this country going to self-correct? And obviously it is.
Yes, we're doing it. It's happening now. It's like I wake up every day and I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, is this real? Like, did this election happen this way? Because I feel like we were just so beaten down for so long. I still go back to November. I think it was November 22nd or something like that, 2022, which is when Donald Trump announced he was going to run for president again. And some people were shocked. Some people were excited. Some people were shocked. And some people were upset and like, you're done. Your time is up. I am trying to think about where this country would be right now if Donald Trump had not come back to run for president again. And he wanted to do it early. He wanted to get his name out there early before anybody else announced. And obviously he had some contenders in the primary space for the Republican side and handily defeated all of those people. But it's been a very interesting time just to watch. I mean, I get excited for when people are going to look back on this era in our history. I just am excited to live through it, let alone, obviously, I'm so connected to it and in the midst of all of it. But it is such an exciting time to be alive and to really see the shift that's gone on. And I've said this before on this show, but what has been, I think, most impressed to me and what I've cared about the most is really the fact that people didn't buy the lies. You know, our family has been through a lot. Donald Trump has been through more than any human ever deserves to go through. But our family as a whole has been through a lot over the past 9 years. And to know that the American people were like, yeah, we see what you've done here. We're not buying it anymore. You've lied about this man. You've lied about what he wants to do. You lied about his family. And we're going to go out and we're going to vote for him. And it's going to be overwhelming support for him. I can't thank people enough out there. So for everybody who voted for Donald Trump this election, thank you. It is just, I think that's the thing, the feeling that I get the most is like, oh, thank God nobody believes it anymore because it's hard. It's hard when people go out there and lie about you and your family and you know the truth. So it's felt really good. I'll tell you who's not taking it well, though, Brittney, is apparently folks at the State Department. They're hosting therapy sessions after Kamala lost, after Donald Trump won, and I guess they're still really deluded over there at the State Department. I'm going to say other areas of our government as well while we're at it. But basically, they said that they're going to host some sort of an online session for people who really can't cope with what has happened on November 5th. And Rep. Daryl Issa from California wrote this, and I think he's 100% spot on. He says, the hosting of these sessions by the State Department also raises significant questions about the willingness of its personnel to implement the lawful policy priorities that the American people elected Donald Trump to pursue and implement. He wrote that if Foreign Service officers cannot follow through on the American people's preferences, they should resign and seek political appointments in the next Democratic administration. If people really need this kind of help, Brittney, I don't know what to tell you. This is sad stuff, and this is exactly one of the reasons people voted for Donald Trump.
I can't help but laugh. I mean, this is a comedian. This is comical. I mean,
comedy in real life.
This is comedy in real life. And so, you know how I post on my social media, pro-Trump, I'm pretty outspoken about this. And I have had secret DMs of people saying, oh, my work, they had counselors come in because of him winning. Or we know that different schools from Los Angeles to New York, they had a day off for kids to cope. What the hell is going on? Are you kidding me? We have late night talk show hosts crying. We have people on The View crying. This is such maddening. This is why, and people are sitting back, and all I could do is laugh and say, this is why he won.
Yep.
This is why. So continue your insanity, continue. And may I suggest a really good psychotherapist, not what you're doing, because this is insanity to me.
There have been people out there who've had to go to deprogrammers, like cult deprogrammers, Stephanie, to get on the other side of what the Democrat Party has done to their mind. So I guess maybe we shouldn't be so shocked by this, but this stuff is absolutely insane. I'll tell you who was maybe the most happy I've ever seen in quite some time that Donald Trump won was Joe Biden. I mean, that guy was smiling ear to ear. So I don't know what he's got going on at his State Department, but maybe he should go over and chat with some of them and let them know, like, it's going to be fine. And in fact, you may one day be very happy that Donald Trump ultimately won in 2024.
Yeah, not only was Joe Biden thrilled with the election victory for Donald Trump, but it appeared that Dr. Jill Biden was pretty excited too. I've never seen her smiling so hard. And you contrast those photos of her recent get together with VP Harris, where she's like completely frowned, like upside down. And then with Trump, just all smiles, as you pointed out, ear to ear. This State Department story kind of points two things out to me. Number one, like there is a mental health crisis going on in this country. And unfortunately, a lot of these people who are suffering apparently work at the State Department. And number two, we always talk about the deep state and the left like brushes it off as if it's some sort of joke or conspiracy theory. But that is the deep state. When you have people within the government and the bureaucracies who want to carry out their own agenda, that is a deep state. And so if you're crying over an election, that is democracy, then you have a problem and shouldn't be there. So we need Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to come in with Doge and move all these people out. Maybe they can learn to code, like Barack Obama once said, when people get displaced out of the workforce, just learn to code. Or maybe they can go learn how to make like a great mocha at Starbucks. But they have no business within our government agencies. And the fact that our tax dollars went to pay for these cry sessions for adults just boils my blood. So this needs to be cleaned up immediately.
I agree. And what does this say to our younger generation too, who are watching this?
Right.
Little hands we're raising, like, give me a break. This is what America was founded on. You vote, and and obviously an overwhelming amount of people voted for President Trump. So come on. I mean,
You're so right when you point that out, Brittney. I feel like I think oftentimes about what things were like, let's say in the era of World War II in the United States. You had young men, 18-year-olds who were being shipped over to Europe to most of them did not come out unscathed. I think if you survived and you had your whole body intact, mentally, they probably lived the rest of their lives with some sort of massive PTSD from the things that they saw over there. It was horrific. You know, this was the kind of warfare that I can't even imagine some of our younger generation and our people of my generation going into war like our grandparents did. This was a completely different era. And I think about the strength and the resilience that those people had. The greatest generation, they call them, and they call them that for a reason. This kind of stuff, I think, is just ridiculous. And it softens our society in such a way that, God forbid, we ever find ourselves in the midst of another war, which, thank God, Donald Trump is coming in and he's going to try and settle things down, because we were on a straight path there. And look, no bets are off that things don't get crazy over the next, whatever it is, 2 months or so. But I think about that all the time, and I always compare, and I get it, it's two different times. I understand that, but we are such a better country than this kind of nonsense. I think it's such a bad example. You're right, Brittney, for our children. And, there's always the folks who get upset about these elections and they say, well, we're leaving the country. And there were like some people, I think on TikTok or something, who posted their whole journey to Canada. Like, good riddance. Good luck to you guys. But what often happens is that, Brittney, they go out and they see the rest of the world and they realize America is a pretty great place. Yeah. You really don't have it better anywhere in the world than you have it right here in the United States of America. And we know all of the celebrities always say this thing: Barbara Streisand, Sharon Stone, Ellen DeGeneres, and Portia de Rossi just moved to England. They're out of here. Bye, guys. Like, I hope it works out over there. But Great. there was this this young woman, I think she was 30, who said, you know what, I'm leaving the country. I pledged to do that. And then she left the country. And Brittney, it didn't go so well for her. She wrote a whole piece about how anybody who's kind of throwing that out there, maybe you want to second think that and you want to take a step back and look at the United States a little bit harder before you leave our sea to shining sea here. It's pretty good. She was talking about had problems with her visa. She had to constantly renew it so that she could work and make money to survive. It's right. Very lonely. You're in a whole new environment. You don't know anybody there. You when you leave, you're not actually going to further the goals that you had. Like, maybe you're a person who thinks all the crazy stuff that they want to do to our kids is a positive. You're not going to help that. And we're happy to see you go. The whole point is, whatever it is that you're into, the environment, I don't know, whatever they got, the grass is not always greener when you leave America, Brittney. And I think some of these celebrities, we're waiting to see what they do. They've all stuck around now. This will be Donald Trump's second term. Wonder if they're going to head out.
I mean, anyone who wants to leave this country, there's the door. I mean, go. This is the greatest country in the world, in my opinion. Do we have some problems? Yes. Thank God we have your father-in-law coming back in to fix some of those problems and help fix some of those problems. But this is the greatest country in the world. I've had the privilege to travel all over the world. And I will say, even when I'm at some of the 5-6-star hotels in Positano or wherever I'm at, I am still ready to come home. And I'm kissing the ground when I come home. There's no greater country in this world than the United States of America. So if these people who want to leave, let's open the doors for them and leave. I'd much rather not have folks who can't stand this country, especially these college kids on our universities, not be here than be here. Go to Canada, go to down to Mexico, go to Gaza. Bye. I'll see for your one-way ticket even.
Yeah, see you later. Stephanie, I don't know. I feel the same way, though. But when I've traveled, and I've been fortunate to travel many places, I did a study abroad program when I was in college. And, it wasn't that long. It wasn't a full year or anything. I wasn't like I fully moved. I knew I was going to come back. I was never more excited than when I got back home to the United States. It really is the reason that so many people want to come here, that you've seen people literally die, some of them, unfortunately, trying to make that treacherous journey up through Mexico to get to the United States. We're the promised land. We are the beacon of hope and freedom, and there is no other place like this. I don't know if these celebrities are still talking about that, or if they kind of realize, I wonder at this point, if they actually realize how ridiculous they've sounded over the past 9 years, just panicking over Donald Trump. And we all know they're going to stay in their very cushy homes and their gated communities with a big fence around their house. They're probably not going anywhere, Stephanie.
Private security, all that.
Yeah.
The celebrities think too highly of themselves to reflect on the ridiculous things that they've said. And a lot of them have homes in other countries, but they always come back. As you pointed out, all the ones that threatened to leave never really left. And we have another batch of celebrities who are threatening to leave, who are, maybe some will leave, but they're going to come back. They always do. America's the greatest country in the world. So why would they want to go anywhere else? And as for the young woman that you spoke about, it was the Daily Mail did a report on it. And I think she went to New Zealand and she found it was really hard to assimilate there, that it just wasn't the dream, the liberal dream that she had once thought. And, with millions and millions of people from all over the world pouring into America's borders illegally, they're coming here because they know it's a great country. And so this liberal woman was like, I'm fleeing racism. and the threats to democracy and all of these other things. It's like, well, you're fleeing it, but like everyone from around the world of all colors, likes, shapes, race, they're all coming here. They know it's not true. And I'm totally for young people who embrace socialism and think that socialism and communism is a good thing, for them to go travel to a country where that is the rule of law and see what it's like, and they will come crying back home and never want to leave.
Yeah, go to Cuba,
Amen.
Go to these other places. Yeah, exactly.
See what it's like. Let me know how it goes.
Good luck in Russia. Good luck in a lot. Go down to Venezuela. Although they say Venezuela, they've emptied the prisons. That's what Donald Trump always says. He says they've emptied their prisons. They actually, when you look at their crime rate, it's starting to drop in Venezuela. Why? Because all the criminals are here. We got the Trent de Aragua gang right now in 17 different states in America. So January 20th, just quite frankly, can't come quickly enough because we got to get these bad people out of here. Ladies, Brittney and Stephanie, thank you so much for joining. As always, to everybody at home, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. And we'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.